Well, here in Nigeria, arson and explosions on some local government have happened on some local government secretaries in Rivers State following grassroots election there over the weekend. A newly built council secretariat at Ishopo was set ablaze. Another secretariat in Eleme local government area was also razed. All the attacks followed the withdrawal of police officers securing the 23 council secretariats by the Commissioner of Police. Arise correspondent Andy Omano has details.
Sounds of gunshots around Obiakpo Council barely less than 20 minutes after the newly elected council chairman, Chijoke Ihunwo, swore in 17 councillors at the legislative chambers of the LGA. Scores of people sustained varying degrees of injuries in the process.
We are disappointed with the Nigerian police because if you look at the council is close to a station, a divisional station. But we are disappointed. We are happy that the house have been proclaimed.
Auda East Council also witnessed the same, with one person feared death. Eleme Council was not spared, just like Ikwere and Emoha councils. While only the administrative section of Eleme Council was set ablaze, the entire secretariat complexes of Ikwere and neighboring Emoha LGAs went up in flames. Omuma LGA was also not left out. The development is now eliciting condemnations across the state and the entire nation.
We are aware that the enemies of the state will definitely take this approach since they have failed in every of their plans to see that Rivers State local government election did not come to play. And that is why we were begging the IG of police to see how he can tell the Zone 16 and the Commissioner of Police Rivers State to work in synergy to build the peace, the security architecture that will protect life and property.
The level of desperation of some individuals whom, when they cannot get what they want through the front door, they try to get it through the back door. But unfortunately, the local government elections have been concluded and the chairmen that have been elected have been sworn in. So now it's straight to the business of governance and nobody can stop that.
But the new chairman of Obiakpo Council has a word of advice for those responsible for the killings, arson, and protests across local councils in the state.
For those who say they want to burn our local government, people have served as council chairman, that's of Lady Chibu and others of the Lord. People have served, so why do you want to destroy, because of your own person, you want to destroy the property of the government? Because they have served your tenure and leave. I will do my own and leave, so we don't need all this distraction, people coming to destroy the secretariats because of their personality, because of what they want to gain. So I want to assure people that I will ensure that we work together as a team. And for those who are doing protests, I'm also going to call them that they should come back, because if they die, nobody, man sending them will not even pick their call. That is the worst part of it.
But despite the violence perpetrated across different council areas in Rivers State, many residents say the days of one strong man, godfatherism, and politics of thuggery are gone. They are now setting agenda for the new council chairman.
Why the local government chairman cannot fend for everybody in their local government? They can come up with policies that will touch positively the lives of everybody in that local government. For example, you can come up with grants, you can come up with loans, you can come up with... There are so many policies. All you need to do is get sound advisor that will advise you on what to do, the economic steps to take, policies to come up with that will benefit the generality and not just a microscopic few.
Of course, they know that the major problem in the country now is that of hunger. We expected that in the past decade, that the local government should open roads where our farmers can evacuate the produce from their farms to the market, to create access to them for finance, security, and of course, where the goods produced and in the farms will have free roads to the market, so that people can have food to to eat and train their children.
Soldiers are reported to have taken over the Ahoda East Council Secretariat, where one person was feared dead after being shot to forestall a reprisal. The police had early Monday morning unsealed the entrances into the 23 SGA secretariats on the order of the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun. Meanwhile, as the state grapples with these challenges, some of the newly sworn-in council chairmen have appealed to residents of their respective local governments to remain calm and peaceful, even in the face of provocations. It's Andy Omano, Arise News.
Thanks to our correspondent there, Andy Omano. We're now being joined by Arise News analyst, Dr. Constance Ikoku, for more on the happenings in Rivers State. Dr. Ikoku, watching that report was quite sad, devastating. Yesterday, we were talking about how relatively peaceful the elections, local government and councillorship elections went in Rivers State. And now we're seeing this sort of political unrest, violence, one person feared dead. What does this tell us then about the broader challenges that Nigeria has when it comes to our electoral process?
Nkechi, sad indeed, sad is the word. The river situation has proved to be unyielding. And what we have seen is that politicians, or some politicians, have refused reason to prevail. And that says a lot about our electoral processes, where people do not allow the process to go on peacefully. And hence, we are seeing that attack on public buildings, on secretariats. The main goal here is to prevent the local government chairmen who have been sworn in from resuming office. 23 local governments, 22 won by the Action People's Party, the relatively not relatively unknown party in local politics. Verbal disagreements between warring factions is one thing, but physical attack and burning down to the burning to the ground of government buildings is another thing, and it raises the prospect of a total descent into anarchy. And that's why we've heard a response from the president. President Bola Tinubu is on a working vacation in the United Kingdom, but he released a statement through his spokesman, Bayo Ananoga, who has asked the Nigerian police to restore order. Now, it also highlights the role of the Nigerian police force in our electoral processes and in security in general. The point here then is whether the police is able to handle this matter dispassionately without bias or prejudice to one faction or the other. In the past, there has been that dichotomy between the federal level and the state level, where federal ministers or appointees try to suppress the local politicians. We have seen a bit of that in Rivers State. So the point will be going forward whether the police is able to handle this in a matter that brings everything to a close.
Two issues here. One was that on the day of the election, police were withdrawn from the conduct of the elections. Then secondly, I don't know how you will view it. President has issued an order, but do you think it came late in the day because secretariats have been burnt, and you think that even when police were withdrawn, the president, who is the president of the entire nation, even though he's out of the country, maybe through his vice, should have been proactive?
Yes, the role of the president has been highlighted severally in this conflict in Rivers. Mind you, it's about a year now. He has intervened in the past indirectly by calling both factions to Abuja for a discussion. An agreement was signed, but it has continued to degenerate. Yes, the police force was not available on the day of the election because, according to them, there was an order that they leave the state. So they were not around. However, the elections went on very peacefully. We also know that talks have been on about the fact that it's not only the Nigerian police force that monitors elections around. There are other security agencies that are around when elections held. So at some point it was thought that, okay, they have been demystified. The point here is that those who lost the elections have seen that the balance of power has changed. They willingly decided to boycott the elections that were planned. And probably they thought that it will not go on. But on that day, people from Rivers State came out and cast their votes. The votes were counted and the results were declared. They were supposed to be sworn in yesterday, but the governor didn't want to take any chances. So on Sunday, the following day, the local government chairman and the councillors were all sworn in. Now, the issue is that they feel that they have lost out completely and have resorted to attacking public buildings. And the president says this is totally unacceptable. He says it's totally unacceptable, but what do you really do after that? Will the police move on to make sure that there are consequences for these types of actions?
You know, Dr. Ikoko, and India as well, I don't understand, why should the police wait for the president to order them to keep the peace, to arrest or to prosecute anybody? Is there like a contrary order that was there before? I don't understand that. Just help me understand that a little bit.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, there has been this conflict brewing or ongoing in Rivers State. There is the federal, you have to understand the context. There is the federal case, there is a minister that is involved at the federal level trying to make sure that he gets his way in local politics against the governor. So a lot of people see that or think that the police force is biased in this case because there is a federal minister, so-called, that is calling the shots. They've also said that based on the court order, that's why they withdrew on Saturday. And so that's why there was a sort of vacuum in that state. However, it doesn't still excuse the fact that the federal government is in charge of the police force and should provide security at all times. The elections have been concluded. Normally, there's a commission of police in Rivers State and everything that pertains to security, although the governor is the chief security officer, the orders come from above. And that's why where that dichotomy comes in, which is always a crisis. So it depends on how President Tinubu handles this matter. It's very sensitive, it's degenerating terribly. And if he decides that he wants to handle it, you know, without bias and prejudice, then you will see a change in the way that the police is able to intervene in that matter.
All right, briefly and very quickly, very important because this is one of his ministers involved. So you wonder what is happening, but briefly and quickly. This touching of secretaries occurred after the police were withdrawn. Now the next question will be, will the people that committed this arson face consequences?
That's a good question, but indeed there have been other cases of bombing party offices before the police even withdrew. Like I said, this crisis has been on for at least 1 year. And so people, you know, factional politicians have taken advantage of the situation, sponsoring talks to cause crisis. The main goal is to precipitate a crisis so bad that maybe a state of emergency will be declared in the state. And that's why when you read reports this morning, people that are loyal to the governor, Governor Sim Fubara, are saying that they do not want a state of emergency to be declared in Rivers State. It looks like that's where we are heading to.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ikoko.